Namaskar. We are continuing with the secrets of success, and now is the third principle. Third principle is Tritiyam Guru Pujanam. It means following the teacher. Not only following, but cultivating a special attitude towards the teacher. If you want to accomplish something great, you must have a great teacher. You can learn yourself. Actually, you don't learn anything yourself. You always learn from the teacher. But the teacher may be internal, the teacher may be external. If you're tenacious and you practice concentration, at some point your conscious, subconscious mind gets still, and you come in touch with the infinite portion of yourself. That infinite portion of yourself is called Guru, the teacher. But that takes a longer time. If you have the Guru, the teacher, from outside, it saves you so much time. Guru Pujana means not only following the teacher, trying to understand the teacher, but actually developing such a respect and adoration for the teacher, the love for the teacher. That love will create a direct pipe, a direct conduit of the knowledge, and you will receive that knowledge. This principle is applicable especially in spiritual life, when you attain the Guru of the highest sort. But also it is applicable in all day-to-day life. When we are born, from the very beginning, we have teachers. Our first teachers are our mother, father, sister, brother. The company of the people who I am with, they are all my teachers, the school teachers. But we have to understand that all those teachers, they are not the teacher, they are not themselves a teacher. They are just a conduit of the teacher. The real teacher is the Supreme Consciousness. Even in the case with the mathematics, you are studying the Pythagoras, laws, the theorems. You are studying the maths, trigonometry. But that knowledge has come from the Supreme Source many thousand years ago and has been simply passed onward by the people. Someone has manifested that knowledge because of the connection with the inner infinite layers of the mind. And later on, that knowledge was repeated and transmitted through the worldly media, human beings, the worldly teachers. But actually, they are only the transmission pipe. But that knowledge is the property of the Supreme Consciousness. Every knowledge, every spiritual and mundane. So we have to develop the reverence for the teacher, for the Supreme Teacher, and also for the conduit. It is said in philosophy, it is said, Brahma eva Guru Reka Naparah. It means only Brahma, the absolute consciousness, is the Guru. Nobody else is the Guru. Only that Brahma, only that consciousness is the Guru. But when you develop the reverence for that Brahma, and also you develop the reverence for the conduit, then you open up yourself for that knowledge. I was studying in a school, and then I was very good with the subjects of literature and subjects of Russian language. When I moved to another school, I have become very bad with those subjects. And I love language. I love literature. But somehow I was not able to make a good marks. Why? Because I really hated the teacher. And the teacher, the previous teacher, I was in love. I really adored her. I was really genuinely in love. I really, somehow, as a child, I almost worshipped her. She was such a nice lady. And with that love, the knowledge is just coming so easily. It comes so easily into your heart, into your mind. If you love your parents, you will learn so many things from your parents. If you love your teacher in the school, you will learn so many things. Now, people will say, but I cannot respect just anybody. He has such and such and such a defect. Well, it is your choice. Of course, every conduit, every form, every shape has some demerits and has some merits. And it is your choice. You may pay attention to the demerits. And as you think, so you become. He will still be your teacher, but he will teach you the demerits. But if you focus on the merits, you will get the merits. You will get the knowledge. So we need to educate our children to respect the teachers, to respect the parents. We are not the same, no. This sameness is very detrimental in the process of learning. Of course, fundamentally, existentially, we are souls. There is no higher soul, there is no lower souls. But in the process of learning, a disciple should adore the teacher, should respect the teacher. And maybe sometimes we hate the teachers. There is a personal disagreement, there is a not right chemistry between us. But again, what is my choice? If I want to master the teaching, I must develop the reverence for the teacher. Without that, nothing is working. So the reverence is very important. And if you have mastered the teaching, then you are successful. And then you are enjoying the fruits of the teaching for whole your life. Even I'm remembering in the university, there was one teacher, we really were so afraid of her. And we didn't like, rather we disliked her. And but now I feel, oh, she gave me so much. So now I'm enjoying the fruits of her action. She was doing something I didn't like, but now my whole life I'm getting benefit from that. Is not she is worthy of my respect? Is she not worthy of my reverence? She is very much worthy. So this adoration for the teacher. And it starts from the very basic, means the success of spirituality is built in the family itself. If the child is inculcated with the respect towards the parents, I'm not your, buddy. No. I'm not your friend. Yes, we are friendly, but I'm your father. And as a father, we will never be the same. You're my son, I'm your father. And as a son, you adore the father. If you are able to do that, even the father is, sometimes very bad. But still you find the goodness and you adore, you respect, you have the reverence. So that quality will allow you to learn many things from many, many teachers. You'll be just so smooth and very fast in learning and becoming successful in anything you do. I had difficult times with my father, but I always loved him, whatever. I loved him, and he died already, he passed away, but I really I have this adoration. Somehow it was created. There is a story in Mahabharata epic. You know, when you come to a yoga studio, or you come to a place where they practice karate, kung fu, aikido, these sort of things, the Eastern arts, you'll find always there is a picture of the teacher there. Why is that so? This was my question. You know, when I saw there is a man in the frame, you know, under the glass there is a picture, and people place some flowers there sometimes. I don't know why, what for. Then I ask, who is that? They say, oh, this is Guru. Then I say, are you worshipping that man? They say, well, he is the Guru. It is good that he is there, and we have the respect. Then I say, but why? He's just a human being. They said, simple thing which convinced me. As you think, so you become. He is the master, so he embodies that teaching in himself. He is the highest state of this path. So if you are constantly in touch with him, you will understand this path. You become like him. Then I thought, that makes sense. And then later on, the more I knew about him, the more I came in touch with his teaching and his behavior and his personality, the more I admired him, I adored him. So I started to tell about this story in Mahabharata. There was a person named Ekalavya. He had an intense desire to become a warrior, and he was the prince of some non-Aryan tribes. The Aryan tribes were a dominating race at that time. So he approached the greatest teacher of the martial arts of that time, Dronacharya, and he asked him, Guruji, please accept me, I want to learn the martial arts. I want to learn especially the archery. Then Dronacharya thought, and for political reasons, he rejected him. He thought, oh, you know, I will train him and then later on they will attack us. So for political reasons, he rejected. He said, no, no, you are not from the proper bloodline. Stay away. Then he approached several times, still he got this rejection. Still he didn't despair. He went to the forest. Then he made an image of Dronacharya, like a sculpture. He placed it there, and in front of that image, he started to practice archery. Then sometime later, there was Dronacharya, this teacher, with his best disciples. And they were practicing in the forest, they were staying in the forest. Then their dog went somewhere, some direction. It went to the camp of this Ekalavya, who was practicing the archery. And then this dog was barking, so Ekalavya shot several arrows which locked with each other in such a way without hurting the dogs, but made the lock on his mouth. This was the feat of archery. So the dog came back, whoa! And then when Arjuna, the best disciple of this Dronacharya, when he saw it, and then he became angry. He said, Master, you declared me as the greatest archer of this earth. I see this is your technique. But such a skill, such a perfection in that technique, I am still not able to master. You told me that I am your best disciple. You must have another disciple who is better than me. Then Dronacharya said, I don't know. Let's go and check. So they went. Then they saw this Ekalavya. They saw the image of Dronacharya. Then Dronacharya understood everything. Ekalavya has done the prostration before him, he paid his respects. And then Dronacharya asked him, he says, so I taught you well? He said, yes, master, you have taught me very well. Then he said, I want a payment for my teaching. He said, okay, anything you want? He said, I want your right thumb. That means he will sacrifice his right thumb and he will not be able to practice archery anymore. But he was such a great man, that Ekalavya. He cut his thumb and he offered. This is an unbelievable story. And this story illustrates too a perfect disciple and a defective teacher. So there must be a perfect teacher and a perfect disciple in the spiritual sphere. Because if the disciple is perfect but the teacher is not perfect, the teacher may exploit, may misuse that faith. But nevertheless, you imagine, just imagine this, understand this. The person had such a respect, such love. So in that case, on the level of the higher layers of the mind, you become one with the teacher. You merged. Your higher layers of the mind, they merge with the layers of the mind of the teacher. At that moment, the knowledge available to him become available to you. If you have that shraddha towards the teacher, if you have that sincerity towards the teacher, there is no way, even the teacher doesn't know, because on the conscious level he is not aware. But on the unconscious level, all the knowledge is there. Because actually knowledge belongs to that level of existence. So you get the knowledge of the teacher due to that love and due to that respect, due to that adoration. So that is the story, and I have witnessed it in my life, in the life of so many other spiritual seekers. Like sometimes, you know, recording these videos, I'm also a simple man. I don't know anything. Sometimes I'm really puzzled, especially in English I just started, but in Russian there is already a big channel and I recorded more than 500 videos, and sometimes I'm thinking, what am I going to talk about? This is, I mean, how much you can talk? But the YouTube, he likes to eat. He likes to get my... and people demand this, oh Dada, why you don't release the video? Then my assistant, he says, okay Dada, let's go record. And I don't know what to speak about. So then we sit and then I simply think deeply about my guru. And then suddenly I know. I open my mouth, I say one word, then I know another word, then I know another word, and then suddenly the flow comes and I speak, and I'm thinking, wow, this was something new. This is really a magic. I don't believe till now how it happens. Just with this, I concentrate, I adore, I love, I respect, and then it starts to come. Just like that. Can you imagine? So this for every teacher, for your parents, for mother, father, develop that respect, develop that habit. Like in India, there is a beautiful custom. When they meet their parents, they do Charan Sparsh Pranam, they give namaskar, they touch their feet. Mother, father. This is a gesture of deep respect. I do it. I bow down my ego. Otherwise you will think, oh, they are outdated, they are stupid, they are old. But that is harmful for your person, because then you cannot learn anywhere. Your ego has become so strong that blocks you from the knowledge. You may get some superficial knowledge, but really the intuitive current of existence will be away from you. And that is the genius of human being. So what is the Guru? Guru, first of all, is Brahma, the Supreme Consciousness. It is formless, nameless, shapeless, colorless, soundless entity. Pure knowledge. Pure flow of bliss. That is Guru, the true form of the Guru. The effulgent light that permeates this universe. This is the Guru. It is there in a tiny little molecule. It is everywhere. So the universe is saturated with the principle of the Guru. That's why the universe itself is also a teacher. When you want to learn something, the science will come together. You want to learn something, you want to know something. You know, somebody will turn on the radio for a few seconds and then you'll get your answer. Like, I came to Taiwan and I was really protesting that. I got this direction, oh, you go there, do something there. So I was you know, talking to my Guru internally. Why did you send me there? I don't want, I don't know the language, what will I do? And I was, actually this is a long story, I make it short. Somehow I could not even explain the taxi driver where I need to go, then I had to call my friend and the friend explained. So I'm sitting in the taxi very, like this, very grumpy. And I'm thinking, I'm talking internally. Why? And then suddenly, there was some Chinese music. Suddenly the taxi driver turns another channel and there is some English going on. And there is a song. It says, "Go, you are my son, you are the harmony and you are the melody. Go, you are in my mind." And then he turned to the Chinese. Then I thought, wow, no, it's okay, I go, no problem. So this feeling, sometimes you have the question, internal question. You get in the book, you get some person, a child will tell you something. Universe talks to you. So this is one expression, manifestation. So the sincerity is there to learn. The universe will always willing to teach. It's only when you block, you don't want to learn. Then the universe will say, okay, I wait until cannot wait. Then I will still teach you nicely. So this is one manifestation. Another manifestation is your conscience. If you go within and you listen to yourself, you listen to your innermost heart, you will know this is true, this is not true. One my friend, he said, you know, after years of meditation, I learned to listen to my heart. And it is very peculiar. Even sometimes I take a book and I just feel, no, this is not right. Just to that extent. And you just know what is right, what is wrong. That is the Guru inside of you. So universe and your conscience is one. If you understand that inner, you will understand the universe. If you understand the universe, you will understand that inner. And then there is also an embodiment. When the Supreme Consciousness comes and manifests himself in the form of a human being, you know how the parrot is taught to speak. Parrot is not supposed to speak. It's, you know, supposed to quack, 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 do these things. But people, human beings, they teach the parrot. So they place a mirror in front of the parrot and behind the mirror they speak. So the parrot, seeing himself in the mirror and listening to the human speech, will start to imitate the human speech. So in the same way, actually Guru is God. Guru is the supreme entity. But it manifests as a human being. Manifests as your father, as your mother, as your teacher of mathematics, and teaches you. I don't know, you follow it or not, you understand it or not. And there is a special manifestation also. When a person has got a spiritual elevation, what does it mean? It means that you have got such an immense discipline of the mind. You tamed your ego in such a way that ego completely surrendered to that supreme entity. You listen to your heart so much that you have become a slave of your heart. You are a servant of that supreme entity within yourself. When you did so much spiritual practice that your mind has merged with your spirit, and there is no more difference in what you think and what you feel in your heart and what is the truth of the universe. So that state is the Guru. And sometimes there is a special Guru. When a mystic who have attained that status, he decides not to merge finally with the Supreme, but come again and again to serve the humanity, being one with the Supreme Consciousness. And then next birth, he is born already with that knowledge. He doesn't have to do spiritual practice, but he does it to set the example for the public. So that sort of Guru is called Parameshti Guru, or the Supreme Guru. And when you think of him, when you meditate on him, it's just like going into the mine with the jewels. You take all the jewels and there is no shortage. There is such an abundance of knowledge and inspiration and everything. So how to find such a Guru? This is a big question. I was so sad and so rebellious in the childhood. From 12 years of age, I wanted to practice meditation. Somehow, I don't know how, in my childhood, I was sitting also like this, and I was trying to do something, but I wanted, there was this very, very acute and strong desire. I want to do meditation. So I got several books, and I tried to do, according to those books. But in those very books, it was said that you should not practice these practices without a Guru. So then I thought, for God's sake, then what is this book for? Where in Siberia I will find a Guru? How the Guru will come to me? How I will come to the Guru? And then as a child, 12 years old, I was, fantasizing how I will cross the mountains and I will go to India and I will find my master there. Then, I think this was so difficult to cross all these borders and passports and visa. This was a little bit fantastic. So this was very painful in my heart. I so desperately need a Guru, a teacher, but there is no way. But it takes the maturity. Once that desire becomes mature, once you go through experiences in life and you realize that whatever you do creates hell. I tried myself to be happy. I tried many things, but it doesn't work. And now I understand that those attempts are futile. And I need some higher power that will show me the true path. And I know, I'm not satisfied anymore with that type of happiness that, our, comforts. It's not enough for me. I'm yearning for the spiritual sphere, for the liberation, for the spiritual liberation. There are so much bondages. I want to tear apart those bondages, become free. Once you get that yearning in your heart, then the Guru will appear right at that moment. And when you have this idea, you know, take my hand, bring me forward. I just will go with you. I don't want to go myself. I want to come with you. I want to surrender to you. I want to follow you. At that moment, God manifests himself as a teacher before you. And that teacher, if your desire is pure, if you desire something else, something for your ego, then such teacher will appear, which will not teach you the pure path. But if your desire is purely to attain the Supreme Consciousness, to attain God, to attain this purity, then such teacher will appear that is perfect. So we say, Muktya Kaunkaya Sadguru Prapti. And then one day what happened? I was, going through a crisis of my young age. I was 18 years old. And I was experimenting with many things, drinking, smoking, and, things of youthhood. And then I felt so empty. Then I was praying to God internally, and I was saying, if you exist, show me the way out. I just know I must have a teacher and must have a path. So I told to God, either you kill me, don't wait, kill me right now, or you give me the teaching, the path, and give me the teacher. And I requested, but it should be the best teacher and the best path. In 1 week, I met this meditation, Bhavanam Kevalam. I started to practice, and I felt so good. Doing that, I just felt that there is a seed of truth there. My mind is crude, is not able to grasp the magnificence of that practice. But I feel something feels there. I feel something is there. So I was so inspired. And then in half a year, my Dada came. Then he initiated me, and he brought me in touch with my Guru, with my real master, my spiritual master. That opportunity is still there. If you have really the pure desire in your heart, it's always there, it always will be there. He is always for human beings. Those who yearn for him, he comes to them, to teach them, because only he, only the Supreme Entity knows his secrets. Nobody else knows. Nobody else understands. Human beings don't understand. We don't understand a fraction of what God is. Only the God himself can teach you. So that is why there is a process of initiation. Initiation is the moment when you take the hand of the Guru and the Guru take your hand. At that moment you receive the mantra, personal mantra, the sound that connects you with infinity, with immortality. So that in the spiritual sense, Guru is so important. In the worldly sense, it may be important. Yes, it's very important. Nowadays, all the business coaches, they all say, you must have a teacher, you must have a teacher. If you want to be successful, find the best person, find the expert there. And this is so important. Don't lose time. Find the best. And in spiritual life, it has been so important for the eternity. It has never, the relationship of Guru and disciple are so important. And you have to have some intuition. Like sometimes we come in touch with the Guru, but intuition is not developed, so you feel him as an ordinary being. You don't feel anything. But then, as you develop, like my friend, he said, if we would be just a little more intuitionally developed, every time we see the photo of our master, we would do the prostration. And I agree with him, because when I'm in that state, when I do a very good meditation, then when I see the picture of the Guru, I don't see the man, I see the infinite. And actually it is like that. That form, that shape is only that mirror before the parrot. So the moment comes, you go beyond that shape, beyond that name, beyond that everything. You find that you are connected, and you are that. Inside of you, you are the same thing. So spiritual path is nothing. In short, spiritual path is following after the Guru. There is no definition, other definition of spiritual path. It is not meditation, it's not asanas, it's not these things. These are superficial things, does not matter. You know, of course, on the rational path, Guru designs the most, fast path, and meditation, everything, all this useful. But even if the Guru will say that, you sit and bump the wall like this, you will do that, and you will get enlightened through that. Because it is the enlightenment comes with the grace of the Guru. But the Guru is the most rational entity, so everything comes rational. It doesn't come, the whimsical, strange things. Everything comes rational. So spiritual path is following the Guru, and it is two things. Follow your heart. Don't betray your heart. Listen to your heart. The heart tells you the right things. Before you're able to follow the heart, you have to develop a great discipline of the mind. Because I saw, maybe is Guru telling me to marry that person. No, not necessary. I'm feeling that in my heart. No. This is your undisciplined emotions and instincts pressurizing you. And you would like to mix the desirable with actual. You try to understand, you try to feel that, or maybe it is his will. So before you really feel the will of the Parampurusha, the Supreme Consciousness, you have to go through the meticulous, tedious process of disciplining of your mind, mastering over your emotions and instincts. And then you get a sense of that, you get the taste of your heart. You get the taste of that viveka, that discrimination power. And that is your Guru. You follow that. Don't betray your heart. To learn to listen to your heart, you have to follow Jama Niyama principles and different disciplines. And for that you need external Guru. The external Guru represents the teaching. He was born, he lived by his teaching, he has demonstrated them in practical reality, and maybe he is gone already. But that personality, that event in the history is never gone. He is like Lord Shiva, Lord Krishna, the Buddha, Jesus Christ. They have left on this planet, on the collective unconscious of this planet, such an impact, such an imprint can never be forgotten. And when you are in touch with those personalities, you get their guidance. Same way, I've got my teacher, Shri Anandamurti. When with him, he has left such a tremendous impact in the collective unconscious by his presence. So, external teacher is the disciplines, is the practices that he transfers to you. You follow that, you're following the external teacher. And then slowly, everything, external teacher, internal teacher, the universe, everything become one. You just know. You acquire this ability to understand what is right and what is wrong. So I hope I spoke so much actually. This topic is so vast. I can talk another 9 hours, another 10 hours, another 2 days, 3 days, 4 days, and telling the stories and telling the examples, because this is the practical. It's not like I'm taking something out of my head. This has been the last 21 years of my life that has been such an alive experience So, the third principle of success is to follow the teacher. First of all, develop the ability to follow the teacher, and then the teacher will come. Develop the ability to respect, to love, whatever. If you hate the teacher in your school or in your university or somewhere, develop the ability to love that teacher, to respect, to find the treasures that he is giving to you. Adore him for that. And then you are ready for the spiritual path. Thank you very much. Namaskar.